Welcome to It's Me or the Cookie, Assumed Leave-Its. Now that you've had some practice with It's Me or the Cookie, it's time to advance this game and start working on more challenging impulse control. We are going to start to teach your puppy the concept of an assumed leave-it. An assumed leave-it is where the dog makes the assumption that you will tell them when they can have something, and if you don't tell them they can have something, then they should leave it alone. This is a little different than a traditional leave-it. With a more traditional leave-it, the dog tends to assume they can have everything unless you tell them they can't. Where with an assumed leave-it, the dog assumes that they shouldn't touch things unless you tell them they can. Which would you prefer, having to constantly tell your puppy to leave things, or have a puppy that chooses to leave things on their own? When you're rewarding your puppy with this, you don't want to teach them that they will always get the treat they leave alone. It's a good idea to mix up how you reward your puppy. You can release your puppy to take the treat from your hand by using a release cue like okay or take it when you open your hand to give them the treat. For this, you can use a release cue as your reward marker. You can also use a marker like good and deliver the treat to your puppy instead of having them come get it from your hand. You can also give your puppy a different treat from your other hand. You can use this with a marker like yes or a clicker. With this last option, you're teaching your puppy, no, you can't have that, but you can have this instead. Think about the different ways you're rewarding your puppy. You should have different ways of communicating how your puppy will be rewarded and what you want from them. If you need to, review the reward markers and the release cue lessons for more information. Now, let's get started. Warm your puppy up with the previous It's Me or the Cookie game. Instead of holding your treat hand straight out to the side, move it a little bit closer to your puppy. Gradually move your closed fist closer and closer to your puppy's nose. Once your hand is right in front of your puppy's nose and they are able to ignore it, start increasing the duration. Make your puppy wait for a few seconds longer before you mark and reward them. If your puppy tries to get the treat in your hand, just ignore them. Hold your hand still and wait for them to give up and look at you. Then mark and reward. Make sure that you don't say anything to your puppy. Since we are teaching an assumed leave-it, you are teaching your puppy that you saying nothing means they should leave the treat alone. To do that, you have to make sure that you say nothing. Once your puppy gets the hang of leaving treats alone in your closed fist, you can progress to having them leave treats in your open hand. Start by presenting your open hand with a treat in it far away from your puppy. If your puppy leaves the treat, mark and reward. Gradually bring your hand closer and closer to your puppy with each repetition. If your puppy tries to steal the treat, just close your hand and wait for them to leave it alone. Once they do, open your hand back up. If they leave it alone, mark and reward. If they tried to steal it again, repeat until they are leaving the treat with your hand open. You may want to present the treat in your open hand further away for the next repetition to help your dog be successful the first time. That's it for this lesson. Remember to work at a level that you think your dog can be successful at and gradually make it harder and harder.